Hi students, it's your librarian, Karen Reed, and in this video I am going to show you how to find reference materials from the library databases. For my example, I am pretending that I am evaluating a video game called Portal. So my paper that I'm going to write is an evaluation of this video game. And just like you, I have chosen 3 criteria for evaluation. So I've decided that I am going to evaluate Portal, the video game, on visual appeal, storyline, and the ability to collaborate with other players. So this, I've kind of laid it out here so that I can see different search terms that I might use when I'm looking for information. I can use the term video game, obviously, as a search term. I can use the very specific word portal. When I am looking for different parts of my evaluation criteria, I can think of things like visual appeal. What's related to visual appeal? Well, we would be talking about the video game's graphics, right? Or the design of the video game. And when we're talking about storyline, we're really thinking about the plot of the game or the narrative of the game. And when you're talking about the ability to collaborate with other players, I realize that a term that is associated with that is multiplayer games. So I've laid out the subject of my evaluation, and now I am going to start looking for some reference sources. In other videos, I'm going to show you how to find magazine and book sources too. But in this first example, we're going to look for reference sources. And to remind you, a reference source is a general overview of a topic. Reference sources or articles published in reference books are usually found in specialized encyclopedias, dictionaries, or handbooks. So these come out of books, which you're going to access online, but this isn't the sort of book that you read from cover to cover. This is the sort of book where you refer to articles or chapters within the book to pull out very specific information. So let me hop over to the GCC library. And remember, we need to find our information from library databases. If I click on the library databases link on the left, I see the full list of databases that the library subscribes to. A database is an organized and searchable collection of information. And we purchase access to these databases because they are of academic quality. This is not information you're going to find for free on the internet. You'll notice that the databases are organized by subject area. So you could select a single subject area database and search within that single database. But I'm going to show you how we can limit our search specifically to reference articles. We're going to look at the big search box on the front of the library page. You'll see these tabs at the top. I'm going into Find Articles, and I am limiting my search to reference articles. I can search in a number of different ways. Right now, I'm just going to use some keywords. I know I'm looking for the video game Portal. And I've put the word video game, or the 2 words video game, between quotation marks. This tells the search system that I want to find a reference article that has the word portal in it and has the words video game together in that order. Now, portal, I mean I want to find things about the game Portal, but the word portal is a very general word, so I might get some results that aren't exactly what I'm looking for. Let's see what I get. I got 148 results, and the first result actually looks a lot like what I want. You will notice that is an entry called Portal from the Encyclopedia of Video Games, The Culture, Technology, and Art of Gaming. It came out in 2012. This looks very promising indeed. So I'm going to click on that, and it should take me to the article. If I was off campus, it would ask me to enter my MEID and password before I got into the database. So here's that entire article, and it tells me some general information about the game Portal when it came out. I see it's a single player game, so this is not one that you can play collaboratively. That's important information for me to have. It tells me a bit about the plot, the narrative, and it's just a very brief article. At the end of the article, I see interesting information that it was one of the first video games that has an all-female cast. So maybe I want to refer to that in my paper that I write when I write my evaluation of Portal. So this looks like, even though it's a very brief article, it might be useful. I'm going to email it to myself. I can either save it to my Google Drive or I can email it. And I recommend that when you find something useful, you email yourself a link to the article right away. So I could fill this out and then it would email the article to me. You'll also notice that there's a citation feature. This is useful when you have to cite your sources in a paper, APA format, MLA format. And right up here where it says Get Link, I'm going to copy and paste this link. And this is just another way of saving a source. I'm going to drop it into my reference source table. I want to be able to find this again. So that was an example of just one reference source that I could use in my paper. I went back to my search on the library, and I want to scroll through my results, and I've already done this search, so I know that some of these results are more useful than others. A lot depends on what search terms you put into the top here. We found 148 reference articles in this search. If I take out the word portal and I just want to search for reference articles on video game, I'm probably going to get a lot more results. Let's see. Yes, I got over 6,000 results because this is a much more general search. However, I might want to pull various information from various reference articles. I can scroll through them and see what I might find here. Here's one called Video Game Design and Programming. And remember, when I look at my 3 evaluation criteria, visual appeal was one of my criteria. And I thought of related terms like graphics and design. So I might want to look at this video game design and programming. Even if it's not specific to the video game portal, it's going to give me general information about how video games are designed. This came from a different reference book, and it was published in 2018. So I want to experiment with a lot of different search terms up here in the search box. And I'm going to keep referring to my criteria for evaluation and thinking about these different things that I am looking for. So I'm probably going to try several different searches. And remember, right now, we are only looking for reference articles. When I search for anything on the library databases and I get my results, there are limiters on the left side of the screen. I can look at content type. We know we're looking for reference right now. If I clicked on magazine article and made the check mark came up, I could look at magazine articles, but there are 84,000 of them. So I don't want to do that right now. I can limit by a specific discipline. I can limit by a specific publication date. But remember, it takes a little bit of time for books like reference books or full-length books to be published. So I might or I might not want to limit by the length of time. Then subject terms. If I look at subject terms for video game, as opposed to the keywords video games, I get fewer results, but they're more streamlined towards what I'm looking for. They're focused on video games as a subject. It doesn't just have the word video game somewhere in the article. It is very specifically focused on video games. So you can really experiment with these limiters over here. They can help you refine your search. So when you are looking for a material, I recommend starting by looking for reference material, because reference material is general and most people can understand the level at which it is written, and it has lots of information that you can use.